Hey guys, welcome back. Our new training session. Welcome back to EHS Simplified. So today we talk about the permit to work PTW system step by step. What are those? How to work, height at work, excavations, like all these things. We will go step by step. Let's go. Yes. So, what is the work permit or permit to work system basically? So, this work permit system is formally documented process and authorized specific people and carry out to define a high risk work within a set of time frame or locations and restrict basically output and risk assessment and substitution fact. So we can see the key principal things is no permit is means no work. That is the main agenda basically. So five key things we just wanted to know: scope, accountability, risk, control, and authorization withdrawal. So scope, what is being done; authorization, who is the responsible; risk, what are those hazards, basically the hazards, and what precaution are in place, most important, and how long the work authorities, so that we need to be look into this. So that the most important roles and responsibility in work permit or permit to work, basically the permit to work only when every roles are clearly defined and executed. Ambiguity in authority and accountability is leading cause of permit failure. So you can see that role 3 is area of site in charge. Basically those people are this managing the stimulations operations, ensure the conflicting activities in this zone. Apart from this, step 1, we can see the permit requester, who is the responsible or performing authority. Step 2 is the permit issuer or authorizing authority. Step 3 already said here, area authority or site in charge. Step 4, yes, safety officer or HSE. So for you, like what kind of authority is required? Monitoring, compliance, audit permit, implementation device, or the hazard controls. Okay, so step 5 is worker operations. So follow the work permit and XYZ. So you can see that the roles and responsibility is a very vital for PTW system. So next, in this slide, PTW step-by-step performance. That PTW procedure is a sequential and non-negotiable process. Obviously, each step must be completed ordered from the next begin. So one step, that worker work preparations basically. So requester submit, hazard identify, work scope located, and what are the process. So that's one. The next is worksite inspection are physically checked, not only just physically check lockout tagout is there or not, if it is required, verified on this site. Okay, step 3 is permit issue or authorization. Okay, sign off and performing authority, user, area authority, and safety officer. Step 4 is toolbox talks. So toolbox talks permit condition, share the worker supervisor before start the work. Obviously the toolbox talk is always the before the what start. Step 5 is monitoring and supervision. Monitoring and supervision is continuous check against the permit condition during the work basically. Okay, or maybe present on that things, they may be monitoring each and every time during the work completion and work permit closure, site restore with the safe conditions and permit signed off and filled with full audit trail. Okay, so that is the step we should follow, that sixth step we should follow to, from the starting to end for procedure. Okay, so we talk about now hot work permit. Hot, yes, the hot work includes the ignition source, we all know, into that environmental that may contain a combustible or flammable atmosphere at the permit exist, and verify all the ignition hazards as controlled before the spark and stuck. So what qualified at the hot work? Arc welding, oxyfuel cutting, basing, open flame, shouldering, spark generations, grinding, torch are applied, heating, each and every part hot work is permitted. Basically it is qualified for the hot. So for governing stock, yes, the ocean 29 they said NFPA 51B also standard for the fire prevention during the welding, cutting, and the other hot work. Okay. PSM requirements, yes, the facility under the PSM process safety management. PSM is a process safety management. Must have the written work permitted and the verbal authorizations is insufficient. Obviously, you should be take the written permission. Verbal is not at all. Whosoever the concerned person. No, you need some document for that. Fire risk reality that hot work is one of the leading cause and workplace fire, spark, and melted slag can be travel further than expected shoulder. So what are these things? So we talk about the OSHA 29 CSR, 29 CSR 1926, NFPA 51B, and EFPA also. That kind of things we will that kind of follow. Okay, the regulations and all this part. Hot work permit, the key control checklist. Key control, yes, the area clearance. So what, how much it is distance required? 35 feet minimum. Whosoever the concern is like duct, any combustible material and something. So you're supposed to be covered with that non-resistant, flame resistant basically blanket over there. So designated hot area, hot work area, the pre-designed and non-combustible surface and proper ventilation, most important because they are doing the welding part or maybe some other part. Okay, confined space. Okay, hot work inside the confined space required a both a hot work permit and a confined space permit. So you can see if it is hot work, so we're supposed to know you're supposed to fix two. One is hot work and second is a confined space to be active stimulation, no executions basically. Atmospheric testing. Before that required a flammable gas and the vapor test before this during the hot work operations using the calibration instruments. So we required the calibration or fire watchers. That is the most important, and this the someone should be there. No other duties basically. Train the fire watchers. They're supposed to be fixed over there, present during and after the hot works, not only during the after that. As per the OSHA, OSHA it should be 30 minutes after, and NFPA it should be 60 minutes, means 1 hour after they should watch, and after that they should leave. Okay, so post work installation, yes, that all ignition source are eliminated before the work left, and they permit to signed it off and filled out the audit trail. That's all. So we talk about right now is height at work. So height at work, yes. What will we do that? Over that fall from the height. It's a seriously major concern of something else. Okay. So I just wanted to highlight in Singapore the fall from height contribution more than a third, more than a third of the total workplace fatalities. Okay. So they will lose their life. Okay, in Singapore for each and every year. So PTW triggered required from any hazardous work when the person could fall from more than or above 3 meters from the elevated site or into a depth basically. Maybe that elevated site or maybe into inside the depth. Fall prevention plan basically FPP must accompany every permit covering the policy, risk management, safe work procedure, PPE, inspection, schedule, training, and emergency response basically. Competent supervision, yes, height at work be supervised by competent person to all the time. Okay, each and every time. Okay, all the worker must complete health and safety training before any height work. So what we can do, eliminate, so avoid height at work if it is possible, if it is practical. Passive prevention, guardrail, scaffolding, all this, fall arrestor, harness, lifelines, each and everything. If nothing possible, so we can do like that. Okay, the next is height work permit, the key control of checklist basically. Anchor point. The OSHA permits is load capacity more than 5,000 lb, lbs basically, as per, and only that personal trained person they should do that. Access egrets. The safe and proper access route must be established. Roof opening must be covered, guarded with effective guardrails. Fall or extra system, full body harness, energy absorbing linear basically, and certified anchor line, traveler register system, and prevention the work from reaching and grounded edge. Emergency rescue plans, a documented plan should be ready for before that, not after. So suspected must be placed before the work begins, and suspension trauma can inspect it, and worker within that minutes, that is also required. The inspection daily pre-checks all the anchor points and harness equipment, annual certified inspection, immediate replacement if anything fall happen basically. Permit validation, the permit must be specify exact location, duration, and maximum height work basically immediate if conditions like weather, structural ignitions, and everything. Yes, the most important that electrical work permit we call as the electrical permit or over LOTO, lockout and tagout. The electrical isolation permit combined with the lockout and tagout procedure and the risk unexpected energy resource, and causes the electrician serve injury during the maintenance work. Authorization scope. Okay, an electrical work permit authorized a maintenance, repair, and modification electrical typically prepared with the lockout and tagout procedure. This is what has the standard is OSHA 29, control hazards, energy, and covers the electrical machinery, hydraulic, pneumatic, chemical, thermal, wherever wherever that energy can comes, like each and every area. Multiple energy type, the single industry process, electrical, hydraulic pressure, gravity loaded components, each requiring separate isolations. Tag out expectation permit under that OSHA is solely this energy isolation cannot be lockout, and employee must demonstrate equivalent to safety basically. So how it is, so 120 fatalities prevented for this annually, 50,000, a big number, 50,000 injury prevented annually for as per that record, and top 10 OSHA must cities standard each and every standard every year. So that is a huge things we can follow that. Okay, the electrical six steps we can so go one by one. Identify all the energy, whatever the energy it is coming. Maybe it is thermal, it is chemical, it is hydraulic, not only electrical. So each and every area we supposed to be identify. Stop the equipment. Okay, stop the equipment using the normal operating controls. Never use the electrical stop and solar shutdown. So each and every time we should do that. Isolation operation, each and every isolation device so operates, yeah, every energy isolation device, circuit, and breaker disconnect all these things. Most important, one worker, one lock, one key, so there is no confusion. No one should come with your key and all these things. There is no shortcut. Okay, each authorized person have their one lock, one key, so anyone who is locked, it is permanently locked. No one can by mistake also cannot open. So there is a very communication gap can happen, but right now if it is follow like this, no, it's not possible. So release that waste and stored energy, that build that hydraulic lines, discharge the capacitor, whatever the restored energy is there, we should discharge before that. Confirm the zero energy set, so that is need to be do. So before we begin to start, yes, that is the zero energy, we can go over there, we can work over there. So that is the good procedure. If you follow, you can see that point 1 to point 6, if you follow all these things, so that will be great. We can just solve it like that way. Yes, now is confined space entry. So you can see the confined space is obviously entry among the most lethargic and workplace activity, that atmospheric that kills a first victim, often the kills with untrained rescuer who are follows basically. So who are thus permit OSHA 29 defined that large enough, it should be large enough to enter and perform there, has limited restricted means and on entry or exit, not designated continuous employee capacity occupancy. A confined space is a permit required a confined space. So a confined space becomes a permit required confined space when it is contains the hazardous atmosphere and HLS material. And this bureau levels is 1330 1030 basically 1030 worker died in confined space in United States from 2011 to 18. Now you can see that how big this number. Okay, more than 60% confined space fatalities involved that would be rescuers. So it's not those people are worker, those are rescuer because those are untrained, so they don't know even that. um, Explain that uh, PRCS, which is permit required confined space, storage, the tank, boiler, and the vessel soils and shower systems, tunnel permit, pumps, etc. Three mandatory rules for this permit required confined space: entry, supervisor, authorized entrance, and attendant. So standard outside at all the time. So that is must required when we do this kind of activity. So you can see the permit to work in my left hand side, the oxygen level. We should start with oxygen, not other. So it should be the safe 19.5 to 23.5. Why it is not less? If it is less, that employee or that worker cannot be its breathe well. If it is more than 23, it might be explosion happen. So there is a concern about this. If it is this range, we can go ahead. Okay, that step two, we can consider the flammable gas, which is that a level, if it is below 10, it is good to go safe. If it is not more than, it is can possible, or if it is 100%, forget about this, it can be explosive. Okay, so toxic substance, any CO, S2O, any other things, monoxide, it's very dangerous. So you need to check with the site specific threshold. There is no that things. So site specific, what are the size, what are the site specific threshold, so we can go ahead. Additional entry, we should do the isolation plan, all the piping, energy entrant, and blanket things, rescue plan. We all said like before the starting we should do the rescue. Attendant duties, we should do continuous attendant. No, he cannot do other job, he has to be stand over there. Permit validity, entry must stop, like entry must stop, the permit validity cancelled. If the atmospheric change, we should think about the atmospheric conditions also before we start. So here, this is a very interesting part. You can see there is a stimulations, or maybe the clash happening between the different. Maybe the site is specific. Okay, same site, you have a different work permit is there. So if it is clash between the different permit, hot work, it is fine. So you can see different, that risk is there. Okay, so one is your first is normal the rate things, just confined space, hot work, no, not possible. Confined space, hot worker, no, not possible. If it is, it's a very critical high, it is that orange part mandatory, it will need to require hot work, height work, hot work, electrician work. Okay, hot work, height work, electrician work. Okay, or when it is that yellow part, okay, you can see that medium encourage, we are not encouraging, but if it is possible to do that, please go ahead like this. Okay, electrical height, confines height, height, confined, height, electrical, that things, hot, height, electrical, confined, it's fine, good to go. So life permit area, how we can help, and how we can help to our employee or workers. Okay, life permit register, the physical register is required over there wherever the site, so then we can understand what is going on or what is not, so we can stop one or two. Okay, mandatory stimulations is required, that is the height plus confined, electrical isolation work, height work, any permit adjacent for active the work zone. Digital work permit system is required globally encouraged. Now Singapore is mandatory for that. For this, the public construction project is like projects over thousand like $3 million basically, they are from April 2024. When the conflict is identified, all the effective permits must be suspended for until the hazard interactions and assessed with the resolved by the area authority and the safety officer. So the last in this slide, we should say like common failure, what we do and what should we should focus on that failure, that work begins before the permit start, before permit issued basically, or like after permit it's expired and then only work begin. Permit issued without the physical site inspection. Just issued, they no need to check physically. Indicator and absent gas testing. Okay, they want to do the confined space, they don't have any gas testing. Oh, we can do that like this. We just completed more than 100 times over here, no need to worry about, just go. No, we should not. Incomplete isolation, not the energy sources lockout out. No, we should not do that. Permit not cancelled when the condition change. Maybe the weather changed that things. We got the permit, but it's under conditions. Is it the condition change? If it is condition change, you should stop, or we should change like the fire watcher absent. No, we should not start. If no watcher is there, they have a different work. We should work. We should wait for that. Okay, and when we start, he should not move. That is the things. What we supposed to be focus on that? Verify the permits on site visible during the work execution. Confirm all the sign of faults and conflict. No blank authorization. Test of workers. Understand the permit conditions and hazard control. Um, Check the permit. Close record. Must much watch actual work completion time. Conduct a unattended field audit, basically desk review, miss on the ground gaps, basically that we need to focus about that. No need to test things. If you go like that way, I don't think so there will be much worried about this. Okay, so that is there. Thanks for this. Good luck. Bye bye.